Long before LoDo was home to the Colorado Rockies, it was Denver's bustling Chinatown filled with homes and businesses. And through gentrification and one especially violent incident that's gone now, all that remains is a plaque that commemorates the race riot. Denver 7 social equity reporter Micah Smith has a story of how the community wants it changed before LoDo is on the national stage.
Brian, Denver's Asian American Pacific Islander Commission has been discussing the plaque for a few years, but given the current social justice movements happening and the timing of the MLB All-Star Game, members of the community see now as the perfect time to begin repairing the harm perpetrated against the Asian American community all those years ago.
Before it was home to Coors Field and rows of locally owned restaurants, lower downtown in Denver, also known as LoDo, was the center of Chinese American culture in the city.
In the 1800s, there was a thriving Chinatown in the area, and it was a significant part of the population.
Kai Vong, a member of Colorado Asian Pacific United, or CAPU, says in the 1870s, Chinese immigrants who just helped complete the Transcontinental Railroad made a home here.
Unfortunately, there was a race riot in the 1880s, and that basically started the push out of the Chinese population. There's basically no trace of the history, just this plaque over here.
But Vong says this walking tour plaque is problematic.
And doesn't really accurately describe what even happened.
On October 31st, 1880, at a pool hall, a fight broke out between two Chinese immigrants and four white men. And the fight kind of spilled out into the street.
Gil Asakawa, a journalist and member of Denver's Asian American community, says thousands of white Denverites rampaged through LoDo, chasing Chinese residents while burning down businesses and homes.
While the Chinese were fleeing, one man was caught, beaten to death, and hung from a lamppost.
That man's name was Look Young.
He was not mentioned in this historic plaque. He was not mentioned by name, but that same plaque mentions by name three white business owners who took in Chinese, which is a great, Chinese who were running away and protected them. That's great that they were, being allies. But it just seems off.
Vong and Asakawa say another problem with the plaque is the header, which reads, Hop Alley, Chinese Riot of 1880.
The race riot, it's an anti-Chinese race riot, not a Chinese riot, right? And so it gives a wrong impression right away.
Now Asakawa, Vong, and other members of CAPU are hoping to have the plaque removed and replaced with a more accurate representation of what happened here.
We would love to do that before or even during All-Star Weekend, when the world is watching, and here in Denver.
Asakawa and Vong say the city is helping their organization get in touch with the building's owner to get permission to remove the plaque. But in the meantime, they will continue to try to educate others and celebrate the history of what was once here.
To keep track of progress and fundraising efforts for a new plaque or mural, you can check for updates on Colorado Asian Pacific United's Facebook page. Asakawa and Vong say Molson Coors has already made a generous donation. Molly.
All right, thank you, Micah.